She was kicked out of her home on Christmas Eve during a snowstorm until the Mafia boss saw her, and what he did changed their lives forever. Subscribe and like if you're ready for a tale where hearts collide, danger dances, and love rebels. The snow fell like frozen daggers against Emma's skin as she huddled on the metal bench at the abandoned bus stop. Christmas lights twinkled mockingly from warm houses across the street, their cheerful glow a cruel contrast to her reality. Her threadbare coat did nothing against the December wind that cut through the Chicago streets like a knife. 23 years old and homeless on Christmas Eve. The irony wasn't lost on her. Her stepfather's words still echoed in her mind. "You're not our responsibility anymore. Get out." Her mother had simply looked away, choosing her new husband over her own daughter. The door had slammed with such finality that Emma knew returning wasn't an option. She'd grabbed what she could carry and stumbled into the worst snowstorm the city had seen in decades. Now, 3 hours later, her fingers had gone numb. She couldn't feel her toes anymore. The last bus had come and gone. The driver hadn't even slowed down when he saw her. Nobody stopped on Christmas Eve. Everyone was rushing home to their families, their warm houses, their safe lives. Emma closed her eyes, wondering if this was how it ended. Frozen and forgotten on a street corner while the world celebrated. The sound of a car engine made her look up. A sleek black Mercedes pulled to the curb, its headlights cutting through the swirling snow. The vehicle was worth more than anything Emma had ever owned in her entire life. Wrong neighborhood for a car like that. The back door opened, a man stepped out, and Emma's breath caught for reasons that had nothing to do with the cold. He was tall, dressed in a charcoal overcoat that probably cost thousands of dollars. Dark hair swept back from a face that could have been carved from marble, sharp jawline, high cheekbones, and eyes so dark they looked black in the streetlight. A neat beard framed his mouth, giving him an edge of danger that made her instinctively press back against the bench. He studied her with an intensity that made her feel exposed despite her layers of clothing. 2 men in dark suits emerged from the car behind him, their hands resting inside their jackets in a way that suggested weapons, bodyguards, serious ones. "You're going to freeze to death out here," the man said. His voice was deep, cultured, with an underlying authority that made it clear he was used to being obeyed. "I'm fine," Emma lied, her teeth chattering so hard she could barely form the words. A slight smile touched his lips, though it didn't reach his eyes. "You're a terrible liar." He took a step closer, and Emma noticed the way his guards flanked him protectively. This wasn't just a wealthy man. This was someone important, someone dangerous. "Who are you?" she managed to ask. "Someone who can help you." He tilted his head, studying her like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve. "What's your name?" "Emma." But she wasn't sure why she answered. Maybe because hypothermia was setting in. Maybe because something in his gaze made her want to trust him, despite every instinct screaming that she shouldn't. "Emma," he repeated, as if testing how her name sounded. "I'm going to make you an offer. You can refuse if you want, but I suggest you consider it carefully given your current circumstances." She waited, too cold and too tired to speak. "Marry me." Emma blinked, certain she'd misheard. "What?" "Become my wife. Tonight. Right now." He said it like he was discussing the weather, not proposing to a complete stranger on a frozen street corner. "In exchange, you'll have everything you need. A home, warmth, security. You'll never spend another night in the cold." "That's insane," Emma whispered. "Perhaps." He moved closer, close enough that she could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. "But you're freezing to death, Emma. You have nowhere to go. No family waiting for you. I can see it in your eyes. You've been abandoned, cast out, left to die on Christmas Eve." How did he know that? Emma's heart pounded. "I need a wife for business reasons," he continued smoothly. "You need a home. It's a transaction, a mutually beneficial arrangement, nothing more." "I don't even know you." Emma protested weakly. You know enough. You know I have money, power, resources. You know I can protect you. His gaze intensified. And right now, protection is exactly what you need, isn't it? Emma's mind raced. This was crazy, absolutely insane. You didn't marry strangers, especially not strangers who traveled with armed bodyguards and proposed on street corners. Every rational thought told her to refuse, to run. But where would she run to? Back to the streets? She wouldn't survive the night. Why me? She asked. You could have anyone. Something flickered across his face, an emotion she couldn't quite identify. Because you're desperate enough to say yes, and because... He paused. Because something tells me you won't ask too many questions about what I do. What do you do? Nothing you need to worry about. His tone made it clear the subject was closed. Do we have a deal, Emma? Warmth and safety in exchange for your name on a marriage certificate? She should say no. She should absolutely say no. Yes, Emma heard herself whisper. His expression didn't change, but she saw satisfaction flash in his eyes. Smart girl. He turned to one of his guards. Marcus, get her in the car. Have the heat turned up. She's half frozen. Before Emma could process what was happening, strong hands were helping her to her feet. Her legs nearly buckled, but Marcus caught her, guiding her toward the Mercedes. The interior was warm, luxurious, and smelled of expensive leather. She sank into the seat with a groan of relief. The man slid in beside her, maintaining a careful distance. There's a blanket in the compartment beside you. Use it. Emma pulled out the thick wool blanket and wrapped it around herself, her body trembling as warmth gradually returned. The car pulled away from the curb, leaving the frozen bus stop behind. What's your name? She asked quietly. He was silent for a long moment, staring out at the snowy streets. Most people call me Don, or Mr. Moretti. Moretti. Emma's blood went cold for reasons that had nothing to do with the temperature. She'd heard that name before. Everyone in Chicago had heard that name. The Moretti family controlled everything from the docks to City Hall. They were the reason police didn't patrol certain neighborhoods. The reason rival businesses mysteriously burned down. The reason people whispered in back alleys about justice that never came from courts. She'd just agreed to marry the most dangerous man in Chicago. I see recognition in your eyes, he said softly. Having second thoughts? Would it matter if I was? No. His honesty was almost refreshing. The deal is made, Emma. I keep my promises, and I expect the same from others. You agreed to become my wife. I expect you to honor that agreement. And if I don't? He finally looked at her, and the intensity in his gaze made her breath catch. Then I would be very disappointed. And you don't want to disappoint me, Emma. Trust me on that. It wasn't a threat. Not exactly. But the weight behind his words made it clear that disappointing him would have consequences she didn't want to imagine. The car wound through the city, leaving downtown behind for exclusive neighborhoods Emma had only seen in magazines. Mansions set back from the street, protected by high walls and security gates. Old money territory. Untouchable territory. They pulled up to a 3-story stone mansion that looked like something from a European postcard. Warm light glowed from tall windows. A fountain stood frozen in the circular driveway, ice crystals glittering like diamonds. Home, Moretti said simply. Marcus opened her door and Emma stepped out onto pristine driveway that had been meticulously cleared of snow. Her worn sneakers looked pathetic against the elegant stonework. Everything about this place screamed wealth and power, the kind of wealth that came from controlling a city's underground. The front door opened before they reached it. A woman in her 50s, dressed in a neat black dress, stood waiting. Her expression was carefully neutral as she took in Emma's bedraggled appearance. Mrs. Chen, this is Emma, Moretti said. She'll be staying with us, permanently. Please prepare the guest room next to mine and have someone bring appropriate clothing. She'll need everything. Of course, Mr. Moretti. Mrs. Chen's gaze flickered to Emma with something that might have been sympathy. Right away. Emma followed Moretti through a foyer that was bigger than her entire childhood apartment. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, artwork that was probably worth millions. Each room they passed was more opulent than the last. He led her up a grand staircase to the second floor, down a hallway lined with closed doors. At the end, he pushed open a door to reveal a bedroom that took her breath away. A four-poster bed dominated the space, covered in soft blankets that looked like clouds. A fireplace crackled in the corner. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked snow-covered gardens. An ensuite bathroom visible through another door showed glimpses of marble and gold fixtures. "This is yours," Moretti said. "My room is next door. There's a connecting door, but I won't use it without permission. You have my word." Emma turned to face him, suddenly aware of how alone they were. "Why are you really doing this?" "I told you. Business reasons." "That's not an answer." His jaw tightened. "No, it's not, but it's the only one you're getting tonight." He moved toward the door, then paused. "Get warm. Rest. Tomorrow we'll discuss the details of our arrangement. For now, just know that you're safe here. Nothing will hurt you in this house." "Not even you?" He looked back at her, and for just a moment, she saw something raw in his expression. Something almost human beneath the cold exterior. "Especially not me, Emma. I may be many things, but I don't hurt innocents. You're under my protection now. That means something in this world." Then he was gone, the door closing softly behind him. Emma stood alone in the most beautiful room she'd ever seen, her mind reeling. 12 hours ago, she'd had a family and a home. Now she had neither, except she did have a home. This home. And she'd gained it by agreeing to marry a man whose name made grown men afraid. She moved to the window, looking out at the snow-covered city. Somewhere out there, her mother was celebrating Christmas with the stepfather who had thrown Emma out. They were probably relieved she was gone. One less mouth to feed. One less reminder of her mother's first marriage. Here, in this mansion, Emma should feel afraid. Trapped. Instead, for the first time in months, she felt something else entirely. Safe. Even if that safety came from the most dangerous source imaginable. Emma woke to sunlight streaming through windows she didn't recognize. For a confused moment, she thought she was dreaming. The silk sheets, the soft mattress, the warmth. Then memory crashed back. The bus stop, the proposal, Don Moretti. She'd married a crime lord. Except they hadn't actually married yet, she realized. He'd brought her home first. Why? A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. "Miss Emma, may I come in?" Mrs. Chen entered carrying a tray laden with breakfast. The scent of fresh coffee and warm pastries made Emma's stomach clench with hunger. She couldn't remember the last time she'd eaten. "Mr. Moretti thought you might be hungry," Mrs. Chen said, setting the tray on the bedside table. Her expression was kind, motherly even. "He asked me to let you know he's in his study when you're ready. No rush." "Thank you," Emma managed. Mrs. Chen hesitated at the door. "I've worked for the Moretti family for 20 years, dear. I've seen many things, but I've never seen him bring someone home like this. You must be very special." Before Emma could respond, she was gone. Emma devoured the breakfast. Fluffy eggs, crispy bacon, fresh fruit, and pastries that melted on her tongue. Real orange juice, not the cheap concentrate she was used to. Strong coffee that actually tasted good. She took her time, trying to process everything. The closet held clothes in her size, designer labels she recognized from magazine advertisements. Someone had been shopping early this morning. Everything fit perfectly, from the soft cashmere sweater to the tailored jeans. Even underwear and shoes in exactly her size. How had he known? Emma found Moretti's study on the first floor, guided by Mrs. Chen's directions. She knocked softly on the heavy wooden door. "Come in." He sat behind a massive desk, his attention focused on papers spread before him. Morning light caught the sharp angles of his face, making him look like something from a Renaissance painting. He'd changed into a charcoal suit that probably cost more than a car, his dark hair perfectly styled. The neat beard framed a mouth that looked like it rarely smiled. He looked up as she entered, his dark eyes assessing. "You look better. Less like you were dying of hypothermia." "Thanks to you." Emma moved closer, acutely aware of the power dynamic in the room. This was his territory, his world. She was just a guest. "We should probably talk about what happens next." "Yes, we should." He gestured to a leather chair across from his desk. "Sit." Emma sat, folding her hands in her lap to stop them from trembling. "You said you needed a wife for business reasons. What does that mean?" "It means there are certain expectations in my world. A man in my position is expected to have stability, a family. Without that, I'm seen as unpredictable, dangerous in ways that make even allies nervous." He leaned back in his chair, studying her. "I need a wife who won't ask questions, who'll play the role in public, and who'll stay out of my business affairs." "What kind of business affairs?" His expression hardened. "The kind you don't ask about, Emma. That's the first rule. You see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing. In exchange, you get a comfortable life. A comfortable prison, you mean." "Is it?" He gestured around the study, at the mansion beyond. "You're free to go anywhere you want during the day. Shopping, restaurants, anywhere in the city. You'll have credit cards, a driver, anything you need. The only requirements are that you come home each night and you attend social functions with me when required." "And at night? When we're alone?" Something flickered in his eyes. "We have separate rooms, separate lives. This is a business arrangement, Emma. Nothing more. People will expect us to act like a real married couple. In public, yes. We'll need to be convincing." He stood, moving around the desk with a predator's grace. "Can you do that? Pretend to be in love with a monster?" Emma met his gaze steadily. "Are you a monster? What do you think?" "I think you saved my life last night. Monsters don't do that." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You're naive if you believe that. I've done things that would make you run screaming from this house. The only reason you're here is because you serve a purpose. Then why do you look at me like I'm more than that?" The question hung in the air between them. Moretti's jaw tightened, and for a moment Emma thought she'd gone too far. Then he moved closer, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. "Don't mistake pragmatism for affection," he said softly. "I need a wife. You needed rescue. It's transactional." "If it's just a transaction, why did you choose me? There must be hundreds of women who would marry you for money and status. Why a homeless girl from a bus stop?" "Because those women would have expectations. They'd think they could change me, fix me, make me into something I'm not." His gaze burned into hers. "You're desperate enough to accept reality. You know what I am, and you're still sitting here. That makes you either very brave or very foolish." "Maybe both." The corner of his mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Maybe." He stepped back, putting distance between them. "We'll marry in 3 days. Small ceremony, just witnesses. After that, you'll officially be Mrs. Emma Moretti, the wife of the most feared man in Chicago." 3 days. Emma's heart raced. What if I can't do this? What if I can't pretend? "You will, because the alternative is going back to that bus stop, and I don't think you want that." His tone wasn't cruel, just matter of fact. "This is your chance at a better life, Emma. All you have to do is play a role and stay out of my way." A knock on the door interrupted them. Marcus, the bodyguard from last night, stepped inside. His expression was carefully blank, but Emma saw the way his gaze flickered between her and Moretti. "Sir, the Castellano family sent word. They want to meet tomorrow night." Moretti's entire demeanor changed. The almost human man who'd been talking to Emma disappeared, replaced by someone cold and hard. Tell them I'll see them at the usual place. Midnight. They specifically requested to meet at their territory. They said it's about the docks. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Did they? Yes, sir. Should I decline? No. Moretti's voice was ice. Tell them I'll be there, but take extra men. The Castellanos don't request meetings on their territory unless they're planning something. Marcus nodded and left. Emma watched the exchange, her stomach churning. This was the reality of her new life. Dangerous men, territorial disputes, meetings at midnight that probably ended badly for someone. What's the docks about? She asked quietly. Moretti's gaze snapped to her. What did I say about asking questions? You said I shouldn't ask about your business affairs, but if we're getting married, I should at least understand what world I'm entering. He studied her for a long moment, then surprised her by answering. The Castellano family controls the southern docks. My family controls the northern ones. There's been tension lately. Shipments going missing, territory disputes. They think I'm encroaching. I think they're getting ambitious. And tomorrow night? Tomorrow night we'll either reach an understanding or we'll go to war. He said it so casually, like discussing the weather. Either way, it doesn't concern you. Doesn't it? If you go to war with another family, won't that put me in danger? No one would dare touch you. You're under my protection. That's sacred law in our world. His expression softened fractionally. I meant what I said last night, Emma. Nothing will hurt you here. I may be a lot of things, but I keep my promises. Emma wanted to believe him, despite everything, the danger, the lies, the cold transactional nature of their arrangement. She wanted to believe that beneath the crime lord exterior was something human, something worth saving. What happened to you? She asked impulsively. To make you this way? For just a second, raw emotion flashed across his face. Pain, rage, grief. It was gone so fast she almost missed it. That's none of your concern. You're asking me to marry you. I think it concerns me very much. You're marrying the position, not the man. Remember that. Is that what you tell yourself? That you're just a position? Not a person? In my world, there's no difference. He turned back to his desk, effectively dismissing her. Mrs. Chen will help you get settled. If you need anything, ask her. I have business to attend to. Emma stood, recognizing the dismissal. But at the door, she paused. For what it's worth, I don't think you're a monster. Monsters don't give people choices. You gave me one last night. She left before he could respond, but she felt his gaze burning into her back all the way down the hall. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Mrs. Chen showed her around the mansion. 17 rooms, most of which Moretti never used. A library that made Emma want to cry with joy. A gym, a pool, gardens that would be beautiful in spring. Everything she could possibly want. Everything except freedom. That night, Emma lay in her massive bed, staring at the ceiling. 3 days until the wedding. 3 days until she became Emma Moretti, wife to a crime lord, player in a world she didn't understand. A sound made her freeze. Footsteps in the hallway outside her door. They paused and she held her breath, waiting. A soft knock. Emma, are you awake? Moretti's voice, quieter than she'd heard it before. She climbed out of bed and opened the door. He stood in the hallway, still dressed in his suit pants and white shirt, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with muscle. He looked tired, more human than she'd seen him. Is something wrong? She asked. I wanted to. He trailed off, seeming uncertain for the first time since they'd met. Earlier, you asked what happened to me. Why I'm this way. Emma waited, sensing he needed silence to continue. I was 7 when my father was killed, shot in front of me by a rival family. My mother never recovered. She died 2 years later. Some say from grief, but I know better. She starved herself, wanted to be with him. His voice was flat, emotionless, but Emma heard the pain underneath. I was raised by my uncle. He taught me everything: how to fight, how to control territory, how to become the kind of man people fear. That's not all you are, Emma said softly. Isn't it? I've built an empire on fear and violence. I've destroyed families like the one that destroyed mine. I've become exactly what my uncle wanted, a ruthless leader with no weaknesses. Then why did you save me? He looked at her then, really looked at her, and Emma saw something break in his expression. Because when I saw you on that bench, freezing to death, I saw myself, abandoned, alone, waiting to die. And I thought. He stopped, jaw clenching. I thought maybe I could save one person, just one. Maybe that would matter. Emma's throat tightened. It matters. You saved my life. I dragged you into mine. That's not saving. That's condemning. Before she could think better of it, Emma reached out and touched his hand. He flinched as if burned, but didn't pull away. You gave me a choice, she said. You could have just driven past, but you stopped. You offered me warmth and safety. That's not condemning, Dawn. That's kindness. Don't call me that. Not when we're alone. His voice roughened. My name is Alessandro. Only my enemies call me Dawn. Alessandro, Emma repeated softly. The name felt intimate on her tongue. Thank you for telling me. Don't thank me. But his hand turned under hers, his fingers curling briefly around hers before he pulled away. Get some sleep. Tomorrow starts your new life. He turned and walked back to his room, leaving Emma standing in the doorway, her hand still warm from his touch. She went back to bed, but sleep was impossible. Her mind raced with everything she'd learned. Alessandro Moretti wasn't just a crime lord. He was a 7-year-old boy who'd watched his father die. A man who'd never been given a choice about his own life, so he'd given one to her. 3 days until she became his wife. And Emma was starting to think that maybe, just maybe, she could be more than just a transaction. Maybe she could be the person who reminded him he was still human, if he didn't destroy her first. The next 2 days passed in a strange limbo. Emma spent her time exploring the mansion, reading in the library, and trying to understand her new reality. Mrs. Chen was kind but careful, never revealing too much about Alessandro or his business. The bodyguards who constantly patrolled the property were polite but distant. Alessandro himself was mostly absent. He left early each morning and returned late at night, always accompanied by Marcus and at least 2 other armed men. When they did cross paths, he was cordial but distant, the cold Don Moretti, not the vulnerable Alessandro who'd shared his past in her doorway. The night before the wedding, Emma couldn't sleep. She wandered downstairs to the library, hoping a book would quiet her racing thoughts. Tomorrow she would become Mrs. Moretti. Tomorrow her life would change irrevocably. She found Alessandro there, sitting by the fireplace with a glass of whiskey. He looked up when she entered, surprise flickering across his face. Can't sleep? He asked. Too much on my mind. Emma moved to the bookshelf, running her fingers along the spines. These are all yours? My father's, actually. He loved reading. Used to tell me stories every night before. He stopped, took a drink. Before. Emma selected a book and sat in the chair across from him. What kind of stories? Adventure tales. Heroes and villains, good triumphing over evil. A bitter smile touched his lips. Ironic, considering what I became. You're not a villain, Alessandro. Tell that to the families I've destroyed. Tell me about them. He looked at her sharply. Why? Because if I'm going to be your wife, I should understand who you are, all of you. Not just the parts you think I can handle. Alessandro was quiet for a long time, the firelight casting shadows across his face. Finally, he spoke. When I took over the family business at 19, the city was in chaos. 5 families fighting for control, innocents caught in the crossfire. I brought order. Sometimes that required making examples of people who threatened stability. You mean killing them? Yes. His voice didn't waver. I've sanctioned actions that resulted in deaths. I've personally dealt with threats to my family's position. I've done what was necessary to maintain control. Do you regret it? Regret is a luxury I can't afford. Every decision I made kept my people safe, kept this family strong. If I showed weakness, if I hesitated, we'd all be dead. He met her gaze. So no, I don't regret the things I did, but I do recognize what they've cost me. What have they cost you? Everything that makes a man human: trust, love, hope for something better. He set down his glass. You should go back to bed, Emma. Tomorrow's a big day. I'm not tired. Then at least stop looking at me like I'm redeemable. I'm not one of your books where the villain gets a happy ending. This is real life. I'm exactly what I appear to be. No, you're not. Emma leaned forward. A truly bad man wouldn't have saved me, wouldn't have given me choices, wouldn't be sitting here warning me away from caring about him. Caring about me is dangerous. Maybe, but I think the real danger is you caring about me. Something flashed in his eyes. Recognition, maybe fear. Don't. Don't what? Don't see the man underneath? Don't notice that you check on me every night even though you think I'm asleep? Don't realize that you're terrified I might actually matter to you? You don't know what you're talking about. Then prove me wrong. Tell me you feel nothing. Tell me I'm just a transaction. Alessandro stood abruptly, moving to the window. His shoulders were tense, hands clenched at his sides. I can't. The admission hung in the air between them. I can't, he repeated, his voice rough. Because you're right, and that terrifies me more than any rival family ever could. Emma rose and crossed to him. She didn't touch him, but stood close enough to feel his warmth. Why does it terrify you? Because everyone I've ever cared about has been taken from me. My father, my mother, the girl I loved when I was 17. Her family used her to get to me, and she died because of it. Caring about people makes them targets, makes them weapons my enemies can use against me. So you've spent your whole life pushing everyone away. It's kept me alive. He finally looked at her, and the raw emotion in his eyes stole her breath. But then I saw you on that bench, and something in me broke. I couldn't leave you there. Couldn't let you die alone in the cold. And I told myself it was pragmatic, that I needed a wife anyway. But the truth is... What? The truth is, I wanted to save you because I wanted proof that I'm still human. That I haven't completely become the monster everyone believes I am. Emma's heart ached for him. This man who'd been forced into darkness so young, who'd never been allowed to be anything except strong and ruthless, and feared. You're human, Alessandro. I see it every time you look at me. That's the problem. His hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing her cheekbone. I look at you, and I want things I gave up on years ago. I want to be the man who deserves someone like you. But I can't be that man. This is who I am. Then be who you are. Stop apologizing for it. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand that tomorrow I'm marrying you. Not the position, not the reputation. You. And I'm choosing to see the man who saved me, not the monster everyone else fears. Alessandro's control cracked. He pulled her close, his forehead resting against hers. You're going to destroy me, Emma. You know that, right? You're going to tear down every wall I've built and leave me exposed. Maybe that's not destruction. Maybe that's healing. He kissed her then, and it wasn't gentle. It was desperate, hungry, like a drowning man grabbing for air. Emma kissed him back with equal intensity, her hands fisting in his shirt. This was real, raw, nothing like the cold transaction he'd promised. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Alessandro looked shaken. We shouldn't have done that. Probably not. It changes things. Yes, I'm still dangerous, Emma. My life is still violent. Marrying me puts you at risk. I know. She touched his face, feeling the rough texture of his beard under her palm. But I'd rather be at risk with you than safe and alone. You're insane. Probably. She smiled. But you're stuck with me now. A sound from the doorway made them both turn. Marcus stood there, his expression carefully neutral but his presence urgent. Sir, we have a problem. Alessandro immediately transformed from vulnerable man to cold leader. What kind of problem? The Castellanos. They've moved on the northern docks. 3 of our warehouses are on fire. The temperature in the room dropped. How many men did they bring? At least 30. They're well armed and they're not backing down. Alessandro's jaw clenched. Get everyone. We're going now. He turned to Emma, his eyes hard. Stay in the house. Lock your door. Don't come out until I come back. Alessandro? This is not negotiable, Emma. The Castellanos just declared war. That means you're in danger. Stay. Here. He kissed her hard and fast, then strode from the room with Marcus. Emma heard him barking orders, men mobilizing, car doors slamming, engines roaring to life. Then silence. Emma stood alone in the library, her lips still tingling from his kiss, her heart racing with fear. This was her new reality, a man who kissed her like she was precious, then disappeared into the night to face enemies who wanted him dead. She went to the window and watched the taillights disappear down the drive. Somewhere in the city, Alessandro was heading into danger, possibly into a trap, and all she could do was wait. Mrs. Chen found her there an hour later. Come, dear, let's get you some tea. The waiting is always the hardest part. How do you stand it, knowing they're out there, knowing they might not come back? Because I've learned that men like Mr. Moretti always come back. They're survivors. It's what they do. Mrs. Chen squeezed her hand. He'll come home to you, Emma. I've never seen him fight for anything the way he'll fight to get back to you. Emma wanted to believe that, wanted to trust that the connection between them was strong enough to bring him home safely. But as the hours dragged on with no word, fear gnawed at her. Dawn was breaking when she finally heard cars returning. Emma raced downstairs to find Alessandro striding through the door, his white shirt torn and stained, a cut above his eyebrow bleeding sluggishly. But he was alive. Their eyes met across the foyer, and everything else fell away. He crossed to her in 3 long strides, pulling her into his arms. I'm okay. I'm okay. Emma clung to him, not caring about the blood or the smell of smoke that clung to his clothes. What happened? The Castellanos learned what happens when they cross the Moretti family. It's handled. His arms tightened around her. But they know about you now, Emma. They know you're important to me. That makes you a target. I don't care. You should. He pulled back to look at her, his expression fierce. Listen to me. This is your last chance to walk away. We haven't married yet. You can leave right now, and I'll make sure you're taken care of. But once we say those vows, there's no going back. You become part of this world for good. I'm not leaving. Emma? I said I'm not leaving. We're getting married today. Nothing's changed. Everything's changed. War has started. You'll be a target now. Then you'd better teach me how to protect myself. She touched the cut above his eye gently. I choose this, Alessandro. I choose you, even knowing the danger. Even knowing what your world looks like. I choose it because I choose you. Something in his expression softened, the hard edges melting away. You're either the bravest woman I've ever met or the most foolish. I told you. Both. He kissed her then, soft and gentle this time. A promise rather than desperation. Then we'd better get married before you come to your senses. 6 hours later, Emma stood in front of a judge in the mansion study, wearing a simple white dress Mrs. Chen had somehow procured. Alessandro stood beside her in a fresh suit, the cut above his eye cleaned and bandaged. Only a handful of witnesses were present, Mrs. Chen, Marcus, and two of Alessandro's most trusted men. The ceremony was brief, perfunctory. But when Alessandro slid the ring onto her finger and said, "I do," Emma saw the promise in his eyes. This wasn't just a transaction anymore. This was real. "You may kiss the bride," the judge said. Alessandro cupped her face in both hands and kissed her like she was the most precious thing in the world. When they broke apart, Emma was breathless. "Mrs. Moretti," he murmured against her lips. "Mine." "Yours," she agreed. Outside, snow began to fall again, but this time, Emma wasn't cold. This time, she had a home, a husband, a future. Even if that future was wrapped in danger and darkness, even if loving Alessandro Moretti might destroy her, it was a choice she'd make again and again, because for the first time in her life, someone had chosen her back, and that was worth any risk. 3 weeks into their marriage, Emma was learning the rhythm of Alessandro's world. Days were hers. She explored the city with her driver, visited museums, discovered hidden bookstores. But nights belonged to him, to them, to the growing connection neither could deny anymore. They'd fallen into a routine. Dinner together when he was home, quiet evenings in the library, conversations that grew deeper each night, and always, the awareness humming between them. The kisses that grew longer, the touches that lingered, the way he looked at her like she was oxygen and he was drowning. But the war with the Castellanos simmered beneath the surface. Alessandro was careful to keep her insulated from the worst of it, but Emma saw the strain in his eyes, the tension in his shoulders when Marcus delivered reports. Territory was shifting, alliances were being tested, violence was escalating in ways that made even Alessandro's men nervous. Emma was in the library when Marcus burst through the door, his face ashen. "Mrs. Moretti, where's Alessandro?" "He went to meet with the city council about the harbor contracts. He should be back in an hour." Alarm bells rang in her head. "Marcus, what's wrong?" "We just got word. The Castellanos know about his schedule today. They know he's away from the house." Marcus's hand went to the gun at his hip. "They're coming for you." Emma's blood turned to ice. "How long do we have?" "Minutes. Maybe less." He grabbed her arm. "We need to get you to the safe room now." They ran through the mansion, Marcus barking orders into his radio. Other guards appeared, weapons drawn, taking defensive positions. Mrs. Chen rushed past, her face pale but determined. The safe room was hidden behind a bookcase in Alessandro's study. Steel-reinforced walls, independent ventilation, supplies for days. Marcus shoved her inside. "Lock it from the inside. Don't open it for anyone except Alessandro or me. You understand?" "Marcus, don't argue. If they get through us, if they get to you, Alessandro will burn this entire city to the ground. You're his weakness now, Mrs. Moretti. That makes you the most valuable target in Chicago." His expression softened briefly. "He loves you, even if he hasn't said it. So stay alive for him." The door sealed with a heavy thunk. Emma stood in the dim safe room, her heart hammering. She could hear muffled sounds through the walls, raised voices, the crash of breaking glass, sounds that might have been the sharp crack of weapons being used, though she couldn't be certain. Her imagination filled in the terrible blanks. The mansion she'd come to think of as home was under attack, because of her, because Alessandro cared about her. Time became meaningless. Minutes felt like hours. The sounds from outside grew distant, then stopped altogether. Eerie silence descended. Emma's phone buzzed, Alessandro's number. She answered with shaking hands. "Emma." His voice was raw, desperate. "Are you safe? Are you in the safe room? Yes. Alessandro, what's happening? Stay there. Don't move. I'm 10 minutes out. A pause filled with something that sounded like anguish. They got to Marcus and Mrs. Chen. They're alive but hurt. The house is secure now. But Emma, they left a message. What message? They know everything. When I leave, where I go, what I care about. They've been watching for weeks. His voice dropped to something cold and lethal. And they took something from your room. Something that belonged to you. They're going to contact me with demands. Fear coiled in Emma's stomach. What kind of demands? Me. They want me to surrender. Trade myself for your safety. She heard the raw fury beneath his words. They think I'll give up everything to keep you safe. Will you? Silence stretched between them. Yes, he finally said, without hesitation. No. Emma's voice was steel. You're not doing that. Emma. Listen to me, Alessandro. If you trade yourself for me, you die. And they probably kill me anyway to eliminate witnesses. This isn't about saving me. This is about destroying you and taking over your territory. I don't care. I won't let them hurt you. Then we fight back together. We don't give them what they want. Emma's mind raced. You said they've been watching. That means they have people inside your organization. Someone close to you. She heard him inhale sharply. You're right. I've been so focused on external threats I didn't see the rot from within. The sound of a car accelerating. I'm almost there. Stay on the phone with me. Always. Minutes later, the safe room door opened. Alessandro stood there, and the look on his face made Emma's breath catch. Raw fear mixed with relief, mixed with rage. He pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. If anything had happened to you, his voice broke. I'm okay. But Alessandro, Marcus, and Mrs. Chen, they're stable. I have my best doctors with them. He pulled back to look at her, his hands framing her face. This is my fault. I brought you into this world. I made you a target. You gave me a life, a home, love. Emma covered his hands with hers. I don't regret any of it. You should. But he kissed her anyway, desperate and fierce. When they broke apart, Alessandro's expression had transformed into something Emma had never seen before. Not the cold Don Moretti who ruled through fear, not the vulnerable Alessandro who shared his pain. This was something else entirely, something primal and dangerous. They made a mistake, he said quietly. They attacked my home, hurt my people, threatened my wife. Now I'm going to show them exactly what happens when you wake a sleeping monster. Over the next 24 hours, Alessandro's organization moved with brutal efficiency. The traitor was identified, a trusted lieutenant who'd been feeding information to the Castellanos for months. His fate was handled quietly, permanently. The Castellanos' communication networks were infiltrated. Their meeting locations were discovered. Emma watched Alessandro coordinate everything from his study, his mind working like a chess grandmaster. He was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. They'll contact me soon, he told her that night. Make their demands. Probably want to meet on their territory. Make a big show of power before they try to kill me. And you're going to go. Of course, but not the way they expect. What's the plan? He looked at her, surprised. You want to know? I'm part of this now. They made sure of that when they attacked our home. So tell me, what's the plan? Alessandro pulled her into his lap, his arms wrapping around her waist. They expect me to come desperate and alone, willing to trade anything to save you. Instead, I'm going to bring everyone, every ally, every resource, every piece of leverage I have. And I'm going to offer them one chance to surrender before I dismantle their entire operation. Will they take it? No. Men like Vincent Castellano don't surrender. They'd rather die than show weakness. His jaw clenched, which is exactly what's going to happen. Emma turned to face him, straddling his lap. Promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll come back, that you won't throw your life away trying to protect me. Emma. Promise me, Alessandro, because I can't lose you. Not when I've just found you. Not when I've just figured out that I love you. His eyes widened. What did you say? I love you. I know it's crazy and fast and probably stupid, but I love you. The man who saved me. The man who gave me choices. The man who spent his whole life being strong for everyone else and never letting anyone be strong for him. She cupped his face. I love you. All of you. Even the dark parts. Especially the dark parts. Alessandro's control shattered. He kissed her like a man possessed, his hands tangling in her hair. I love you, he breathed against her lips. God help me. I love you so much it terrifies me. You've become everything, Emma. Everything that matters. Then fight for us. Not just for me. For us. For the life we could have if we survive this. I will. His forehead pressed against hers. I swear to you, I will come home. The call came at midnight. Vincent Castellano's voice was smooth, confident. Don Moretti, I believe we have something to discuss. You attacked my home, hurt my people. That's an act of war, Vincent. That was just a demonstration. Next time I won't miss. A pause. But we can avoid further unpleasantness. You surrender yourself to me tomorrow at midnight. Come to the old shipyard on the South Docks. Come alone, and I'll guarantee your wife's safety. You've already proven your guarantees are worthless. Then don't come, but every hour you delay, someone close to you suffers. Maybe I start with that pretty little wife of yours. She's not well protected now that your best men are injured. Alessandro's hand clenched on the phone. Touch her, and I'll erase your entire bloodline from existence. Big words from a man in a weak position. Tomorrow. Midnight. Don't be late. The line went dead. Emma had heard every word on the speaker. He's bluffing about having access to me. Maybe, maybe not. Alessandro stood, pacing. He's right that I'm vulnerable right now. Marcus is in the hospital. Half my men are injured from defending the house. Vincent chose his moment perfectly. So we changed the game. We don't play by his rules. Alessandro looked at her, something like pride in his eyes. What are you suggesting? You said he expects you desperate and alone. So give him confident and supported. Call every ally you have. Make it clear that attacking you means attacking all of them. Show him he's not fighting one man. He's fighting an entire network. That level of mobilization will take time. Time we don't have. Then start now. We have 24 hours. Use them. Alessandro pulled out his phone and started making calls. By dawn, the mansion was filled with representatives from every family that owed Alessandro favors. They came from New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Detroit. Old alliances were invoked. New promises were made. The entire landscape of the city's underground was shifting. Emma watched her husband orchestrate it all with a combination of strategy and raw charisma. This was Don Moretti at his most powerful, not through violence, but through the complex web of loyalty and obligation he'd spent years building. They're with me, Alessandro told her as the last ally departed. All of them. If Vincent wants war with me, he gets war with everyone. Will it be enough? It has to be. He pulled her close. Because I'm not losing you, Emma. Not to Vincent. Not to anyone. You're mine, and I protect what's mine. That night, as they lay in bed together, Emma traced patterns on Alessandro's chest. Whatever happens tomorrow, I want you to know something. What? You saved me. Not just from freezing on that street corner. You saved me from a life without purpose, without love, without hope. You gave me everything. And if tomorrow is all we get, it was worth it. Alessandro's arms tightened around her. Tomorrow won't be all we get. I'm going to make sure we have a lifetime, Emma. I'm going to tear down anyone who tries to take you from me. Promise? Promise. They made love slowly, desperately, like it might be the last time. Every touch was a promise. Every kiss was a prayer. And when they finally fell asleep wrapped around each other, Emma let herself believe that love might actually be enough to save them. The next morning brought a message that changed everything. Not from Vincent, but from an unexpected source, Vincent's younger sister, Sofia Castellano. She wants to meet, Alessandro told Emma after reading the encrypted message. Alone. Says she has information about Vincent's plans. It's a trap. Probably, but if there's even a chance she's telling the truth, I have to take it. Then I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. Alessandro, no. His voice was iron. You're staying here where it's safe, where my remaining guards can protect you. I'm not walking into a potential trap with you as bait. Emma wanted to argue, but she saw the fear beneath his determination. He'd already almost lost her once. He couldn't handle the stress of having her in immediate danger again. Fine, but you take Marcus's best men, and you wear a vest, and you come home to me. Always. He left an hour later, armed and accompanied by 8 of his most lethal men. Emma watched from the window, anxiety clawing at her chest. Something felt wrong. Sofia Castellano reaching out now, just hours before the planned confrontation? It was too convenient. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Moretti. Vincent Castellano's voice made her blood run cold. By now, your husband is on his way to meet my dear sister. What he doesn't know is that Sophia is currently tied up in my basement. She didn't send that message. I did. Emma's world tilted. What do you want? The same thing I've always wanted. Alessandro Moretti destroyed. His empire in ruins. His legacy erased. Vincent's voice turned cold. And the best way to destroy a man like him is to take away the one thing he actually cares about. You. He'll kill you. He would, if he knew I was here. But right now, he's 20 minutes away, chasing a ghost. And you're all alone with minimal security. How long do you think it'll take me to get to you, Mrs. Moretti? The line went dead. Emma's heart hammered. This was it. The real trap. While Alessandro chased Sophia, Vincent was coming for her. She had minutes, maybe less. She ran to Alessandro's study and pulled open the hidden compartment where he kept emergency supplies. A phone connected directly to his network. She dialed his private line with shaking hands. Emma, what's wrong? It's a trap. Sophia didn't send that message. Vincent did. He's on his way here right now to take me while you're distracted. The sound of squealing tires came through the phone. I'm turning around now. Lock yourself in the safe room. Don't open it for anyone. Alessandro. Do it, Emma. Now. I'm coming for you. I promise I'm coming. Emma ran for the safe room, but she heard the front door explode open. Shouting. The guards engaging Vincent's men. She was trapped on the second floor. The safe room just down the hall, but might as well have been miles away. A hand grabbed her arm. She screamed, fighting, but it was too strong. Gotcha! Vincent Castellano whispered in her ear. Let's go have a chat about what your husband is willing to trade for your life. The warehouse Vincent dragged Emma to was abandoned, cold, and smelled of rust and old blood. He shoved her into a chair, his men surrounding them with weapons drawn. Emma's wrists were bound, but her mind was racing. Alessandro would come. She knew he would. The question was whether he'd arrive in time, and whether Vincent would keep her alive long enough for rescue. You're prettier than I expected, Vincent said, circling her like a predator. I can see why Alessandro lost his mind over you. He was always so controlled, so calculated. Then you appeared and suddenly he's making emotional decisions. Weakness. Loving someone isn't weakness. It is in our world. Vincent leaned down, his face inches from hers. Love makes you vulnerable, makes you stupid, makes you trade everything for one person. Alessandro would have ruled this city for decades if he'd stayed alone. But you? You're going to be the reason he loses everything. He'll kill you for this. Maybe, if he survives the next hour. Vincent pulled out his phone and made a call. Alessandro, I believe I have something of yours. Emma could hear Alessandro's voice through the speaker, cold fury barely contained. If you've heard her, she's fine, for now. But her continued health depends entirely on what happens next. Vincent's smile was cruel. Here's how this works. You come here, alone, unarmed. You walk in and surrender yourself to me. In exchange, I let her go. You have 30 minutes. How do I know you'll keep your word? You don't, but what choice do you have? Vincent ended the call. Emma's mind raced. This was exactly what Alessandro had feared, being forced into an impossible choice. If he came alone and unarmed, Vincent would kill him. But if he didn't come, Vincent would kill her, unless she could find a way to change the equation. Why do you hate him so much? Emma asked. What did Alessandro do to you? Vincent's expression darkened. He destroyed my family. 5 years ago, my father controlled half this city. We were powerful, respected, feared. Then Alessandro Moretti decided he wanted what we had. He systematically dismantled everything my father built, turned our allies against us, made us look weak. My father died of a heart attack from the stress. My mother followed 6 months later. I'm sorry for your loss, but that was business. That's how this world works. It was personal. Vincent's control cracked. Alessandro didn't just beat us. He humiliated us, made sure everyone knew the Castellanos had fallen. And now? Now I'm going to do the same to him. I'm going to take everything he loves and destroy it in front of him, starting with you. Emma saw the madness in his eyes. This wasn't about territory or power anymore. This was about revenge. About a wounded son trying to restore his family's honor through blood. You think killing me will hurt him. You're right, but it won't destroy him. It'll just make him into the monster everyone fears. Is that really what you want? Alessandro Moretti with nothing left to lose? Vincent backhanded her. Emma's head snapped to the side, pain exploding across her cheek. Don't pretend you understand him. You're just a stray he picked up. Bought you with pretty words and expensive clothes. You don't know what he's really capable of. Emma spit blood, meeting his gaze steadily. I know exactly what he's capable of. The difference between us is that I've also seen what he could become. You want to turn him back into a monster? Congratulations. You're about to succeed. The warehouse door exploded open. Alessandro stood in the entrance and Emma barely recognized him. This wasn't the man who'd held her gently, who'd whispered love against her skin. This was something ancient and primal. Death given human form. Let her go. His voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried through the entire space. Vincent's men raised their weapons, but Alessandro didn't flinch. Behind him, the warehouse was surrounded. Emma could see shadows moving outside. Dozens, maybe hundreds of men. Alessandro had brought his entire network. You were supposed to come alone, Vincent said. I don't play by your rules anymore. Alessandro's gaze found Emma, and she saw the flash of relief when he confirmed she was alive. This ends now, Vincent. You can walk away or you can die. Your choice. If I die, she dies with me. Then you'd better make sure you're a very good shot, because the second you hurt her, my men rain hell on this place. You'll be dead before you hit the ground. Vincent pressed a gun to Emma's head. She forced herself not to flinch. One more step, and I pull the trigger. Alessandro froze, his expression transforming into something Emma had never seen. Raw, desperate fear. Don't. Vincent, please. Name your price. Anything you want. Territory, money, power. It's all yours. Just let her go. I want you destroyed. Then destroy me. Take everything I have, but let her go first. She's innocent in this. She's just a girl who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Emma's heart broke watching him. The most powerful man in Chicago, brought to his knees by love, begging for her life. "Please," Alessandro whispered, "don't make me watch her die. I'll do anything. Anything." Vincent smiled, sensing victory. "Get on your knees." Alessandro dropped to his knees on the concrete floor. "Beg. I'm begging. Please, Vincent. She's everything to me, everything that matters. Kill me if you want revenge, but let her live." Vincent was so focused on Alessandro's humiliation that he loosened his grip on the gun. Emma had been working at her restraints the entire time, and the moment she felt them give, she moved. She threw herself backward, her weight taking Vincent off balance. The gun went off, the bullet going wild. Alessandro moved with inhuman speed, crossing the space in seconds. His fist connected with Vincent's jaw with a sickening crack. Vincent went down hard. Alessandro was on him instantly, his hands around Vincent's throat. The look on his face was murderous. "Alessandro, stop!" Emma shouted. He didn't seem to hear her. His hands tightened, Vincent's face turning purple. "Alessandro," Emma touched his shoulder. "Stop. This isn't who you are. Not anymore." His hands loosened fractionally. He looked up at her, and she saw the man she loved fighting against the monster Vincent had tried to create. "He tried to kill you," Alessandro said, his voice hoarse. "I know. But if you kill him like this, you become exactly what he accused you of being. The authorities are outside. Let them take him. Let him face justice." Emma cupped his face. "You promised me you'd come back, all of you. Not just the part that knows how to destroy. Come back to me, Alessandro." Slowly, painfully, Alessandro released Vincent. He stood, pulling Emma into his arms, his body shaking. "I almost lost you. But you didn't. I'm okay. We're both okay." Police sirens wailed in the distance. Alessandro's allies melted away into the shadows, leaving only legitimate business associates to explain their presence. Vincent was taken into custody, his men surrendering without their leader. In the chaos, Alessandro and Emma slipped away. They drove in silence, his hand gripping hers like a lifeline. When they finally pulled into the mansion's driveway, Emma could see him starting to fracture. "I broke my promise," he said quietly. "I brought you into danger. I almost got you killed." "No, you saved me. Again." "Emma, listen to me. We just survived something terrible. But we survived it together. Vincent wanted to destroy you by taking me away. Instead, he proved that what we have is stronger than anything he could throw at us." Alessandro pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. "I can't do this. I can't keep putting you at risk. Every day I'm in this life, you're in danger." "Then maybe it's time to leave this life." He pulled back to look at her. "What?" "You heard me. Leave. Walk away from all of it. The empire, the territory, the endless wars. Just leave." "I can't. No one walks away from this world alive. You're Don Alessandro Moretti. If anyone can rewrite the rules, it's you." Emma touched his face. "What do you want, Alessandro? Not what your uncle wanted. Not what the family expects. What do you want?" He looked at her with such raw longing it hurt. "I want a life with you. A real life. Where we don't have to look over our shoulders. Where our children don't grow up in this darkness. Where I can be just a man who loves his wife." "Then let's make that happen." "It's not that simple." "It is if you choose it. You've spent your whole life being what everyone else needed you to be. Strong, ruthless, feared. But what if you chose to be happy instead? What if you chose us?" Alessandro was quiet for a long time. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. "Gather the council, all of them, tomorrow. Tell them Don Moretti has an announcement." The meeting room was packed with the most dangerous men in Chicago. Family heads, territory bosses, Alessandro's most trusted advisors. They'd all come at his summons, expecting strategy discussions about consolidating power after Vincent's arrest. What they got instead was a declaration that shook the foundations of the city's underground. "I'm stepping down," Alessandro announced. "Effective immediately. Marco Santos will take over as head of the Moretti operations." Had the room exploded in protest, voices overlapping, demanding explanations. Alessandro raised a hand for silence. "For 15 years, I've led this family. We've prospered, grown stronger. But that strength came at a cost I'm no longer willing to pay." His gaze swept the room. "This life requires sacrifices, your humanity, your relationships, everything that makes you more than just a title. I've made those sacrifices, but I'm done." "You can't just walk away," Marco Santos said. He was Alessandro's most trusted captain, a man who'd been with him from the beginning. "You know the rules. The life doesn't let you retire." "The rules change because I say they change. I'm not abandoning the family. I'm ensuring its future by putting it in capable hands. Marco, you've earned this. The territory is yours. The contacts are yours. All I ask is safe passage out for me and my wife. And if someone challenges that decision, then they answer to me." Alessandro's voice dropped to something cold. "I may be retiring, but I'm not going soft. Anyone who comes after me or mine will remember exactly why people fear the name Moretti." Marco studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "You've earned your freedom, Don. I'll make sure everyone knows you're untouchable." Over the next week, Alessandro dismantled his empire with the same precision he'd used to build it. Assets were transferred, debts were settled, alliances were honored one last time. He made sure every loose end was tied off, every potential threat was neutralized. Through it all, Emma watched him transform. The weight he'd carried for so long was lifting. He smiled more, laughed more, started talking about the future instead of just surviving the present. "Where do you want to go?" she asked one night as they packed. "Anywhere you want. Anywhere we can be anonymous. Just Emma and Alessandro. No titles, no reputation, just us. I've always wanted to see the ocean, real ocean, not the lake. Then we'll find a house on the coast, something small and quiet. Maybe I'll learn to fish. You can write those stories you've been talking about." Emma laughed. "You? Fishing? I can learn. I've learned harder things." He pulled her close. "I'm going to be a terrible civilian. No idea how to live a normal life. Then we'll figure it out together." 6 months later, Emma stood on the porch of their beach house in North Carolina, watching the sunset paint the ocean gold and red. The house was modest but beautiful. Weathered shingles, wide windows, a dock stretching into the water. Alessandro came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Happy?" Deliriously. She leaned back against him. "You?" More than I ever thought possible. Their life had become beautifully ordinary. Alessandro did fish, though he was terrible at it. Emma wrote during the day, her first novel about a woman who'd been saved by an unexpected hero. They had dinner with neighbors who knew them as Alex and Emma Chen, a nice couple from Chicago who'd wanted a change of pace. No one suspected Alex Chen of being Don Alessandro Moretti. The tattoos that marked his past were hidden. The scars had faded. The hard edges had softened into something almost peaceful. Almost. One morning, Emma found him on the dock, staring out at the water. She recognized that look, the one that said ghosts from his past were visiting. "What are you thinking about?" she asked, sitting beside him. "Just wondering if it's real, if we actually made it out, or if this is temporary. If someday the past will catch up and destroy everything we've built." Emma took his hand. "The past is always going to be there, Alessandro. You can't erase it, but you don't have to let it define your future. You chose to leave. You chose us. That's what matters. I destroyed a lot of lives, Emma. Built my empire on fear and pain. Some days I wonder if I deserve this happiness." You saved a lot of lives too, brought order to chaos, protected people who couldn't protect themselves. She squeezed his hand. You're not just the sum of your worst actions. You're also every good choice you made. Every person you helped. Every time you showed mercy when you could have shown cruelty. How are you so wise? I had a good teacher, she smiled. Besides, I know something you don't. What's that? We're having a baby. Alessandro froze. What? I'm pregnant. Found out yesterday. We're going to be parents. He stared at her, emotions flickering across his face too fast to name. Then he kissed her with a tenderness that made her heart ache. A baby, he whispered. Our baby. Emma, I don't know how to be a father. I don't know how to do this without being what your uncle made you? Good. Our child doesn't need the Don. They need a dad. Someone who'll teach them to fish badly and tell them stories and love them unconditionally. You already know how to do that. You've been doing it with me. Alessandro pulled her close, his hand resting on her still flat stomach. I'm going to protect you both, give you the life I never had, safety, peace, love. I know you will. They sat on the dock as the sun climbed higher, talking about names and nurseries and the future. A future that felt impossibly bright after so much darkness. That night, Emma woke to find Alessandro's side of the bed empty. She found him in what would become the nursery, standing by the window, looking out at the moonlit ocean. Can't sleep? She asked. Just thinking about what kind of world our child is coming into, if they'll be safe, if my past will come back to haunt them. Alessandro, we can't live in fear of what might happen. We can only control what we do now. And right now, you're here. Building a life, being happy, that's enough. What if it's not? What if someone figures out who I am? What if they come after us? Then we'll face it together. Emma wrapped her arms around him. But you can't spend your whole life waiting for the other shoe to drop. You deserve peace. We deserve peace. He turned to face her, moonlight catching the silver at his temples. I've never known peace. Not until you. Then hold on to it. Hold on to us. And trust that love is stronger than any past we're running from. Alessandro kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. I love you, Emma Moretti. You and this baby. You're my redemption. No, we're your future. There's a difference. They stood in the empty nursery, two people who'd found each other in the coldest part of winter and built a spring together. The past would always be there. The violence, the choices, the darkness that had defined so much of Alessandro's life. But it didn't own him anymore. Love had set him free. And on a quiet beach in North Carolina, the most feared man Chicago had ever known became simply a man who loved his wife and waited for their child. A man who'd chosen happiness over power, peace over control. A man who'd finally come home.